Yep, this is still Happy Life Studios, just a special introduction for a special day.
Slide on the worldwide stage, nothing can divide when we on one page. We can defy the odds and make way. When we link, it's a bond that never can break.
It's the Olympics.
Electric, the motion, connection, that's the focus. Celebrate when you rise to the moment, all across the globe.
And since it's the Olympics, and since Happy Life Studios is the official podcast of the holidays, you know we're going to have to do a podcast, or a few. Because if the Olympics isn't a holiday, it certainly should be. So let me hear you.
Let me hear you say,
Come on.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Let me hear you say, everybody say,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Come on. So welcome to Happy Life Studios, Olympic style. So let me hear you say yeah. Come on. You know you want to. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah. What's up, Happy Lifers? Thanks for joining us today. I am obviously so happy you did. I'm not just happy that you did, like I always am, but I'm extra happy because it is Olympic time. And since Happy Life Studios is official podcast of the holidays, you know we're going to have to do Olympics Happy Life Studio style. So, hello, world. I mean, isn't that what the Olympics are all about? The world saying hello to each other and everyone coming together. And I mean, it is just so warming, so inspiring to draw everyone in. So, hello, world. With all the stuff that's been going on, hello, world is exactly what we need. Everyone coming together from across the planet, from across the globe for something bigger than war or all the hate and all the... Boy, there's just been so much junk going on, and Olympics just tends to bring us together because of a thing called the Olympic spirit, which actually lines up a lot with Happy Life Studios and our concept of the Happy Life Studios spirit, I guess you could say. So, hello, world. That's actually the name of the song that I just played, and it's the official song of the Olympics. So, of course, the official podcast of the holidays has to play the official song of the Olympics. I'm not sure who called it the official song, but I do know it's on the Olympics YouTube page. Check out the description they have of that song on the YouTube page for the Olympics. Quote, the Olympics and the Coca-Cola Company teamed up with Ryan Tedder, Gwen Stefani, and Anderson .Paak to create a song that celebrates the magic that happens when the world comes together at the Olympic Games, end quote. Yes, indeed. Hello, world. The magic that happens when the world comes together and we focus on something other than all the politics, all the drama, all the war, all the sickness and disease, all the hate, all the... We focus on the spirit of the Olympics. We focus on the magic that happens when the world comes together at the Olympic Games. And the lyrics I like the most in that song are the ones that I actually pulled out. I obviously edited that song together to make it fit within our introduction there. And the lyrics that I pulled out are the ones that I love so much, and I want to read them to you. Slide on the worldwide stage. Nothing can divide when we on one page. We can defy the odds and make way. When we link, it's a bond that never can break. Electric, the motion, connection, that's the focus. Celebrate when you rise to the moment all across the globe. So let me hear you say, yay, 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 yay. Come on, sing it with me. Yay, 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 yay. Who cares who's sitting next to you? Yay, yay. Okay, don't sing it with me. You don't have to. But we say yeah. Who doesn't say yeah to that? To the connection, focusing on the connection, celebrating the moment all across the globe. Celebrating the magic that happens when we all come together. And be honest with you, I'm Team USA, obviously, all the way, because I'm from America. But boy, there's a lot of countries that have never won a medal, let alone a gold medal. And I tell you what, I'm cheering for those guys as well. I would love to see them get a medal. So, hello world. that song, those lyrics, that's exactly what the Olympic spirit is all about. And it's what the happy life spirit is all about as well. So let me hear you say, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yes, for sure. I love the Olympics because it's so inspiring. We lay down our differences. We celebrate each other. Countries coming together, athletes coming together. Like the commercial I saw of one of the swimmer athletes, I think from, I'm not even going to try to say who it's from because probably got it wrong, but it was the first time they ever won a medal in swimming, I think, and all the other swimmers came over and hugged them, and pretty soon they made a commercial about people all across the globe or people not knowing each other, hugging each other. That's what I'm talking about. That's how to live a happy life. That is the Olympic spirit, and that is the happy life studio spirit as well. We're not just about being happy by making all the bad circumstances going away. We're about choosing to be happy even amidst the negative stuff that's going on. We're talking about choosing to make other people happy, knowing that when we make someone else happy, we will be happy too. It's the Olympic spirit. So I'm going to give you some inspiring, unique, and shocking stories from Olympics present as well as past. So let's start with shocking first. Then we'll go to unique. Then we'll end with the inspiring. Got some great inspiring stories to share with you guys. But like I said, let's start with shocking. I love the opening ceremony, by the way. It was one of my favorite. All down the River Seine. If you haven't seen it yet, you need to find it and you need to check it out. All the styles of music they did, all the styles of art that they did, it was just pretty cool. But there's some stuff in there about, the guys that created it in France. They wanted to play off of a lot of the myths and things people say about France, and which is fine. I think that's cool. I think that's a great idea. But I'm not so sure you had to include menage a trois. Seriously, I mean, Olympics, it's like it's a family event, right? It's something it's supposed to be wholesome. It's about fair and integrity, and I'm not so sure menage a trois fits in with that. But it was in that opening Olympic ceremony. However, I'm not going to allow that to ruin the whole thing for me. I thought it was amazing. I saw some videos, some reels, some shorts where people were just going off on it. I'm not going to be that because I think it was so good. If there's some things in there that I don't like, I don't have to throw the whole thing out, and I don't have to make everyone else hate it because of something that I didn't like. But I did feel like like I said, menage a trois was a little bit shocking. And something else that I considered shocking that I just found out, and it might not be shocking to a lot of you, maybe to all of you, except for me. But I grew up in the era when Olympics were amateur athletes. And I remember as a kid going, how come we can't have our professional athletes, performing at the Olympics? Well, because it was only for amateurs. If you got paid even a few dollars to do some sport somewhere, you were disqualified from the Olympics. And I think one reason that happened was because there were some countries who shall remain nameless, but there were some countries that we were pretty sure were sending their professional athletes when everyone else was sending their amateur athletes, and so they were dominating everything. And so instead of, I think, just trying to prove they're sending their professional athletes, I think the Olympic Committee just said, you know what, bring whatever athlete that you want to bring. And it's definitely made the bar rise as far as, how good the sports have been. There's no doubt about it. So I don't have a problem necessarily with pros being in the Olympics. I feel like it still keeps the same spirit. In fact, one thing I think is really cool is like when a lot of these professional athletes that get paid and they perform on some of the largest arenas in the world, but how much they're moved when they get to be on the Olympic team. Because there's just something special about the Olympics. But here's a shocking part that I did not know until this year. Did you know that France is going to pay their athletes when they win medals? What I read was France is going to give their gold medal winners $100,000 for winning gold, $50,000 if you won silver, and $25,000 if you won bronze. I couldn't believe that. I'm like, I guess that makes sense. They are in Paris, so they want a good showing, but doesn't that kind of ruin everything? And then as I did some more research and some more study, by the way, I just got to give a shout out to BuzzFeed.com, BuzzFeed.com. I did a lot of research on finding some of these stories for the Olympics to share with you guys. And I want to do some more podcasts with the Olympics. So I hope you don't get tired of them. There's just so much inspiration in the Olympics and so much cool stuff in the Olympics. Already some of the commercials have just really rocked my world a little bit in some very positive ways. I've just loved it. So I plan on sharing more Olympic podcasts, maybe even some bonus ones in there, because there's just so much rich content in the Olympics. But as I said, as I was going and I was studying and doing some research, I found out that Paris isn't the only place. France isn't the only country that pays its athletes when they win a medal. I read that there's some countries that will give up to like $1 million for a gold medal. I'm like, to me, that's shocking. I guess we get used to it, but I don't know if I want to get used to it. I mean, that kind of takes away what the Olympics is all about, in my opinion. Now, I get it. These athletes need to make money to survive, but man, I don't know, man. That was just shocking to me. But I really shouldn't say much, because being Team USA, because I'm from America, don't hold that against me if you're not from America. I want you to cheer for your country, obviously. But America pays their athletes too for medals. I think for gold, we give a lot less. I think we give like $30,000 for gold or something like that. By the way, did you know that the gold medals aren't even all gold? They're only like 6% gold. And I know it's disappointing to win second when you wanted to win first, but I think it's just great to be able to be in the Olympics personally. But for all those that get a silver medal, at least they can be comforted in the fact that their silver medal basically has as much silver in it as the gold medal has. Because the gold medal is mostly silver. It's like 90-something% silver, 6% gold, and then a few other ores or whatever in there. But the gold medal isn't even 100% gold. It's mostly silver with gold plating. Cool note, though. This year for the Olympics, when they did some remodeling on the Eiffel Tower, they saved the metal for some reason from the old Eiffel Tower. So all the medals have a little bit, they have like a 0.5% of the Eiffel Tower in their medal. I mean, isn't that cool? That's awesome to me. But America, they're paying their athletes like $30,000 for gold, and I can't remember what the silver and the bronze were. But they used to pay their athletes before. This all changed, I think, around the 90s. But before that, we still paid. When no one else was allowed to bring professionals, we were paying our athletes, but we were paying them in chicken nuggets. Yeah. McDonald's was giving away free food to all the athletes. And at some point, they had to limit it because athletes can eat a lot of food. And so they said, you can only have, get this, 20 items. Oh, there's a limit for you. 20 items? Like, the only way I could eat 20 items in one sitting at McDonald's is if I counted each chicken nugget individually. So there wasn't much of a limit. In fact, there was one games, I think it was the 84 games, that McDonald's said that they were going to give free food to all the athletes. And Russia boycotted those Olympics, which is interesting because this year they've been banned from the Olympics. But in 84, they boycotted, whatever year it was, they boycotted the Olympics. And which means that America won a lot of the medals that Russia, they're a powerhouse, still are. But since they weren't there, we won a lot more medals than we normally would have. And McDonald's, they ran out of like their hamburger buns. And it was like, at the time, and maybe even to this day, one of the most costly mistakes McDonald's has ever made. But here's a shocking part. McDonald's doesn't have to worry about it this year because Paris has banned McDonald's. Not across the country, right? But has banned McDonald's in the Olympic Village. And I'm talking about the McDonald's in the Olympic Villages with all the times I've been mentioning McDonald's here. It's the McDonald's that's in the Olympic Village. But Paris, get this, they want the athletes to eat healthier. Really? They're Olympic athletes. I think they can handle a few nuggets. I know they can. Usain Bolt, when he won gold, before he won gold, I don't know how many hours or how many days it was. It obviously wasn't right before, but he downed like 1,000 McNuggets. And then he ended up winning gold. I don't know if it was days later or whatever it was, but I think they can handle a few nuggets. And I'm sure that there are a lot of athletes from around the world that might not be able to get McDonald's where they live, where they're from. There's probably a lot of them that look forward to there being a McDonald's at the Olympic Village so that they could enjoy it. In fact, I know that's true because at the London Olympics, get this, 20% of all athletes' meals at the Olympic Village were from McDonald's. So it's a pretty big deal. And we're going to worry about these Olympic athletes. I think they can handle some McNuggets. I think they can handle a quarter pounder with cheese. And not only that, in the 2014 Sochi Games, there was a Canadian beer company that installed a refrigerator of their beer in the Canada House and gave free beer to any Canadian. Now, it had a passport reader on it. So you had to show your passport, and it was from Canada for you to get free beer. But I mean, the athletes could drink as much beer as they want, but you're going to make sure they eat healthy in Paris, so you're going to ban McDonald's. Okay, whatever. So you know what that means? That means the closest alternative that they're going to have is vegetarian nuggets, which I believe are soy-based, which I also believe that there's a controversy on if soy is even healthy for you. Some people say it's healthy. Some people say it's not healthy. But you're going to give us soy nuggets because you want the athletes to eat healthier. Well, that was shocking to me. And a little rude, too, to be honest. I just think it's like, let the athletes choose what they get to eat, right? Anyway, that's the shocking. Let's get to the unique. Here are some unique ways that people have won medals in the past. Check these out. And like I said, I got a lot of these from BuzzFeed.com. So thanks, BuzzFeed. The 1904 Olympic Marathon was one of the most bizarre races ever run. Many of the competitors had never run a marathon before, including a man who showed up in full-length dress pants, and the route wasn't even paved, which meant the athletes had to contend with all the dust, all the dirt, that actually made it difficult for them to breathe in some areas because all the runners would kick up all the dust. But get this. Out of the 32 men that entered the race, only 14 crossed the finish line that day. There was a guy by the name of Fred Lortz who seemingly won, but he got a ride in a car for 11 miles of the race because he got a cramp. And check this out. Another Olympian, Felix Carvajal, got hungry midway through the race. So he ate a bunch of apples from an orchard, and then his stomach started to bother him. Some of the fruit was bad, and so he ended up taking a nap during the race, and he still finished fourth. But the gold medal ultimately went to Thomas Hicks. So I'm guessing the guy who I said won, seemingly won. Maybe that he crossed the line first. But the guy who won the gold was Thomas Hicks, who was carried over the finish line because he was having hallucinations, thinking that he still had another 20 miles to run. In the 2002 Winter Olympics, in the 1,000-meter short track speed skating final, Australian Stephen Bradbury was so far behind. There's no way he's getting anything. But one person wiped out, and it wiped everyone else out, except for Stephen Bradbury, because he was so far behind that when everyone got tangled up in this mess, he just ended up, by the time he got there, he just skated around them all, and he got the gold. When they interviewed him, Bradbury said, "I wasn't as strong as the other guys out there, but I am going to take it. God smiles on you some days, and this is my day," end quote. And that's the truth. Sometimes, even if you're behind, you have to stay in the race. You have to keep skating. You have to keep running. You have to keep trying. Because if you stay in it long enough, when everyone else gets tangled up, there might be an advantage. You get to see things from farther behind that others don't get to necessarily see up front. I won't go into too much more detail there, but there's a lot that you could take from that, honestly. And much like Stephen Bradbury, Josie Barthel from Luxembourg was also an underdog at the 1952 Olympics. He was such an underdog that the band that plays the national anthem for all the countries, they didn't even practice Luxembourg's national anthem. They didn't even have the necessary sheet music for Luxembourg's national anthem. So when Josie Barthel won the gold for the men's 1,500-meter race, the band had to completely improvise their way through the Luxembourg national anthem. Do you remember Nadia Comaneci? She was this incredible Romanian gymnast that was just epic. She took over the games. She not only got a 10, she got like 7 10s on that Olympics. The funny part was that was the year that they came out with the digital scoreboard that only had enough room for 3 numbers. So you could judge 9.25, 9.75, 8.3, whatever. There's only 3 numbers on there. And they convinced everybody that, don't worry, no one ever gets a 10. A perfect score is impossible. So we don't have to worry about we don't have 4 numbers on this board. We only have 3, but we don't need 4 numbers. Nobody gets a 10. And Nadia Comaneci, she won 7. Those are some unique ways to get a medal. But here are some inspiring ways to win a medal. 2 stories of Olympics past. In 2006, a Canadian cross-country skier broke their ski pole halfway into the event. The coach from Norway handed the skier one of their extra poles. The Canadians went on to win silver, and the Norwegians took 4th. I'd be like, thanks, coach. Appreciate that. Seriously, they didn't win a medal at all. Isn't that inspiring? I mean, think about that. If the coach never, out of the Olympic spirit, out of the happy life spirit, handed that extra pole to that Canadian, there's no way the Canadians would have won silver. And if they didn't win silver, that means that the Norwegians would have all came away with a medal. But they didn't, because the coach, in the spirit of the Olympics, handed a spare pole to a skier who needed it. That's the spirit of Olympics. That's amazing. Here's the funny part, though. The Canadians were very grateful. So they decided to show their appreciation by sending him some maple syrup, because Canadians are known for their maple trees, and they're known for their maple syrup. So they send him some maple syrup. This Norwegian coach has never even had syrup before. But they sent him some. And they just didn't send him a bottle. They didn't send him 5 bottles. They sent him 5 tons. 5 tons of syrup to a guy that's never even had syrup before. So I didn't get a silver medal, but I got 5 tons of syrup. Thanks a lot. Speaking of the Olympic happy life spirit, here's a cool medal story between 2 Japanese pole vaulters in the 1936 Olympic Games. They were best of friends, and when they were informed that they had to compete for silver and bronze, gold had already been won, they said no. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're going to share the honors. The Olympic Committee said you can't share the honors. Someone has to come away with a silver and someone has to come away with a bronze, and they wouldn't compete. So the Olympic Committee told the Japanese team they had to choose who won the silver and who won the bronze, which they did, but it didn't even matter. Because when they got back home to Japan, they took their medals and had them cut in half and then fused together with each other. So now instead of having 1 silver medal, 1 bronze medal, now they had a hybrid medal where it was half silver, half bronze. What a cool story. In fact, later on, they came up with a name for that. They called that Medal of Friendship. I just love that concept. And I just have a few more inspirational stories to share with you in this episode. And I know we're going a little bit longer, but it's because it's a special day. It's because we said, yay, yay, yay. It's the Olympics, baby. It's the Olympic time. So it's going to be a little bit longer today. But in the 1904 St. Louis Games, there was an American gymnast by the name of George Iser who won 6 medals in one day. But what was cool is it wasn't that he just won 6 medals. He did it with only one leg. Yeah. He only had one leg. He lost his leg in a tragic train accident only a few years prior to that. This is before they had Paralympic Games. So he's competing in the Olympics on one leg. And by the way, the Paralympic Games are just as cool, if not cooler, than the Olympic Games. And this is why, because I watch the Olympics for the inspiration, and the Paralympic Games are even more inspirational, in my opinion, than the, I guess, more popular Olympic Games. But I love the fact that they have the Paralympic Games right after the Olympics, because those are the ones that are more popular to me. I love the Paralympic Games. Make sure you check them out and you support them. You will be inspired and you will fill your mind with inspiration. And when you do that, that definitely helps with the happy life. So here's this guy, George Iser, that lost his leg just a few years prior, but he didn't quit. He didn't give up. He kept going on, and he ended up winning 6 medals in one day. 3 of them were gold. Pretty inspirational, I'd say. And here's a funny one. Well, to me anyway. Some might think it's insensitive. So if you think it's insensitive, I want to apologize to you in advance. So maybe you can just fast forward a minute or two if you'd rather not listen. But it's about the Olympic doves. They used to set free Olympic doves at every Olympics. That represented peace. Peace of all men. That's kind of the point of the Olympic Games. And that's why these doves were released. Like, may we bring peace even in the speeches at the opening ceremony. It's funny, people want to cut down the opening ceremony for some things they didn't like, but what about all the cool things that were said? And one of the things they talked about was having peace amongst us, right? That's what the Olympic doves represent. And that's why every Olympics they would release doves at the ceremony. Until 1988. And here's the insensitive part, but so close your ears. But when they released the doves, they all flew back into the cauldron that's just been lit by the torch, right? And they incinerated themselves immediately. So that's why now you'll still see doves represented, but not live doves. Like at this opening ceremony, they had, dove wings in lights, but they didn't have real doves because in 1988, they all flew back into the cauldron. Maybe that's why we struggle with world peace, because the doves, who knows? Anyway, what I do know is that story leads into this last story of inspiring ways to win a medal. In the 1928 Amsterdam Olympics, Australian Henry Robert Pearce was rowing in the singles sculls race when his family of ducks just decides all of a sudden swim across his path in single file line. I mean, can you imagine that? You're in the Olympics, right? You're going for the gold, and the ducks don't cut in front of anybody else's boat. They cut in front of your boat. They cut in front of Henry Robert Pearce's boat in a single file line, and all just decided to slowly swim right in front of him in the middle of his race. So Pearce ran him over. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't run him over. No, he didn't. This is the spirit of the Olympics. This is what's so cool about this. He didn't run him over. He stopped his boat. He stopped rowing, and he let all the ducks, believe it or not, he let them all pass right in front of him. And when they had all passed in front of him, he took off again, and he still ended up winning the race. Can you believe that? And then in the finals, he ended up beating American Kenneth Myers by nearly 10 seconds to win the gold. I just love that, because I just think the Olympics isn't just about winning. It was just about winning. There was only a handful of people. There's 300 and some sports in this Olympics. With the 3 medals apiece, that means there's like 1,000 people that were only successful. And a lot of them would say they weren't because they didn't win the gold. Well, the silver and the gold are pretty close to each other. The gold just has a little bit of thin layer across the top, right? It's not even solid gold. But the Olympics is about the sport. It's about the spirit of the Olympics. It's about the spirit of giving. It's about the spirit of coming together, the magic that we talked about in that song, Hello World. It's about coming together as all these people across the globe hugging each other, applauding each other, inspired by each other. It's not about winning, and life isn't about winning either. It's about doing the right thing. The cool part is when you do the right thing, that's when you win, right? When you do the right thing, that's when you win. That's the Olympic spirit, and that's the living a happy life spirit as well. So instead of focusing on winning, instead of focusing on beating others, focus on doing the right thing and doing your absolute best at doing the right thing. Do you as good as you can do you as you head towards doing the right thing. When we do that, when we focus on the right thing and we do it with all of our ability to do the correct thing, to stop and let the ducks pass in front of us, right? When we do the right thing with all of our ability, the winning will always follow. Well, at least the happy will. You might not get the gold medal, but the happy will follow. And when we're happy, that's when we win.
Make someone happy. Make just one someone happy. And you will be happy too.
Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope that helped. Remember, life isn't perfect. We can't always win, but that doesn't mean we can't always, you guessed it, be happy. So sing it with me. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Nice.
D-Base.